Hey witches, it's Willow Moonlight, and today I am sitting in my kitchen, which, sorry, it's a little bit messy. I was cooking late last night. I have my tea, my peach tea with some rose infused honey. It's delicious, by the way. I want to talk to you today about advice that I have received from various people on working with Hekate. Most of these people I have not met in person ever. This is either information that I have received from book reviews online and from being on social media websites like Facebook. I'm in quite a few Hekate groups. So this is what I have learned from other people, and I think that maybe you may find some of these pieces of information useful if you are thinking about developing some kind of relationship with Hekate. First of all, I do want to say that I don't even really know how to describe my relationship with Hekate. I mean, am I worshiping her? Do I work with her? Do I honor her? Do I seek her? I don't know. She came to me the first time and I didn't know what she wanted or why she came into my life, but I decided to, keep pursuing her. So I don't have the right way to articulate what it is that I do with her. I used to say I worship her because I do, but I also feel like I'm not just, worshiping her from afar. I don't want to say I have direct contact with her because I don't think that I can just say like, oh, okay, I'm just gonna make her appear. She's with me, she's beside me. Because it doesn't feel like that. It's hard to really explain what my experience with her is. She's there waiting for me is all I can say. And I'm going through a lot of changes, and so basically my goal, I guess, that I've established many moons ago was that I seek her for her wisdom. So I know that she's very wise, and that was mainly why I think I kept, seeking her out more, looking at books, looking at what other people have to say about her, incorporating her into my practice to the point where she is my practice. So yeah, I'm, still kind of in my early stages of working or worshiping Hekate. She came to me in a dream of November 2017, but it wasn't really until 2018 that I, really seriously started working with her. And I would say probably even more so serious in 2019. And now in 2020, like I say, this is everything that I do. And I don't have a very big book collection on her right now. Just a few. So a piece of advice someone had given me a long time ago that was not on Hekate, but rather if you're trying to study something, the best way to learn something is to not bog yourself down with too much reading. So obviously, practicing is very important, and reviewing some of the same content over and over again, because you will learn it if you see it again and again and again. And a lot of books on Hekate I find tend to be a little bit redundant when they give out information on her. So it can be like, when you get to the point where you read something and like, yeah, I know it. That's kind of a good thing, because it's like, okay, this is like common knowledge now, or, it's not something that you forgot. It confirms that you have remembered something. So that's good. In a Facebook group, I asked everybody, what is your favorite book on Hekate? And I got some really interesting answers. And, everyone has a different book that they like. I would say this one was the most popular book, Keeping Her Keys, an introduction to Hecate's Modern Witchcraft by Cindy Brennan. I just call it Keeping Her Keys because it's much shorter to say. That's why I had to look at the title of the book again. But this book is a course. It's not just a book that you read and accumulate information. It's one that, like, you have to do the work. So a lot of people really enjoyed it for that reason. And if you are a person like myself who, is involving yourself with Hekate because you want her wisdom, you want to become a better person, this book is really good because it does focus a lot on personal development. So it's definitely my favorite for sure. And Cindy Brennan, I always mention this, but she is from the same province that I'm from, or at least she lives in the province that I grew up in. I will say that. So yeah, that's cool. I don't live in Nova Scotia anymore. I haven't for quite some time. I live somewhere else in the Maritimes. But anyways, yeah, so that was good. A lot of people really liked that book. A lot of different ones are mentioned, some of which I don't have. There's one, Her Sacred Fires. I would like to get that book, but I don't have it yet. And an interesting piece of advice that I am starting to consider more and more every day is someone said that they actually don't recommend that you read books when you first, start working with, worshiping, or seeking Hekate. They would say you're better off doing like meditations, and pray, engaging in prayer with her and doing that sort of thing. So I was kind of like, that's kind of interesting advice, because not advice, but recommendation, because my thought is if you want to start doing something, you should be reading everything, because there's so many things that you should know before you start, casting spells, or before you start trying to invoke or evoke a god or a goddess. So, and that might make sense to a lot of people, but I did find it interesting how it was kind of like, never mind, what other people have to say about her or whatever, just be with her, is the message that I received from that person. So, which is interesting, because as I am trying to develop my intuition a little bit more, I realize that I don't really trust a lot of what I think, and that I often rely on books and other people and information to tell me what to do and how to do it. But what about, just not having all of that to me? I mean, it's like, the internet and Facebook groups and books and things like that are awesome, because you have, access to all these things, but it can also be so overwhelming to the point where I don't really know how to do my practices, because there's so many ways of doing it, and everyone has an opinion on how to approach her, and what's true about her and what's false about her, and what's limiting and what isn't limiting. And there's people that believe that anything is just whatever you want it to be, and then there are people that are like, so rigid in their practices that I don't know, it's like, where do I fit in all this? So that was a really good piece of advice for me, to just maybe, I'm not going to shut the door completely on books, because I love books and I like talking to people online about Hekate, because I can't find people here that are interested in Hekate. So it's good to have that, but it's also like, if I'm gonna develop my intuition, maybe I do need to just learn. I need to find that intuition, first of all, within me, and then let it guide me. And you know, your intuition can definitely be wrong. It can be as wrong as some information in books. But it's also important to develop it. You don't want to shut the door on your own intuition as well. And another thing I want to show you, hold on. I don't know if I actually had already shown you guys these cards. I really can't remember. But somebody had created a deck on Hekate. And I love the artwork, by the way. I won't show you all the cards, though, but like, well, you know what I mean. I won't show you in depth right now because I want to do an in-depth review of these cards. However, it was so weird because I had to go on some weird publishing site to order these cards, and it took like a month and a half for these cards to get to me. It's crazy. And you have to order the book separately from the cards, and you had to order the book on Amazon, and I had ordered it back near the end of March, and we're kind of getting closer-ish to the end of April right now, and the book will not be here until probably about May 11th. So I will have a chance to be able to look into that a little bit more and play around with the cards. So I'm really excited for that. Just patient. I mean, we are in the time of the coronavirus, and just things take a long time to get to the Maritimes, depending on where it's coming from. So, you know, be patient, Willow. It's a beautiful day outside, so I think that I may, you know, consider going for a little walk after and enjoying some of the fresh air while I can, because I go back to work tomorrow after having a staycation. I was supposed to go on a women's retreat this past weekend, which we kind of ended up doing anyway, but it wasn't supposed to turn out that way. But we're safe and healthy, so I have no complaints. I enjoyed my time at home, and I am ready to go back to work. So yeah, I'll see you in my next video.